So welcome everyone, and thank you for all the interest in joining today. My name is Jessica Quick. I'm the director at the Peel Newcomer Strategy Group. We're one of the local immigration partnerships across Canada, and we're focused in Peel region. And we're going to be providing a bit of background about a new project that we're just starting. So it's exciting to see everyone here around the table. And we're also going to be using this time not only to give background, but also to engage you in providing a little bit of input as we get started. So looking forward to that as well. I'll start by acknowledging that Peel, we're meeting in the treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. In particular, we acknowledge the territory of the Anishinaabe, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and the Ojibwe-Chippewa peoples, the land that is home to the Métis, and most recently, the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, who are direct descendants of the Mississaugas of the Credit. So it's within this context that we're having today's discussion, and we recognize that it will be important to consider our connection and accountability to truth and reconciliation throughout this project. So I'm going to start with, maybe we'll start with our slides, and that will give some context to the project. Great. So the name of our project that we're starting with, at least, and open to your feedback, is Regional Accountability Models for Settlement. And so we're focused on the Peel region. And this session today will give a bit of background and information, as I mentioned, and we'll be explaining a little bit about that name and all the different components in those words. So I'll go to the next slide. Thank you. So we're going to start today by giving some of that context to where this project started from, and then give the description of the project itself and a little bit of our plan ahead. We'll have some time for questions and discussion, and we'll have your input on guiding principles for the project. Then we'll follow with the first steps, looking ahead, as well as thinking about our next forum coming up and hearing your feedback about this forum in particular before checking out. So I'll pause there to see if there's any questions on that agenda. And feel free to use the chat box as we move through the meeting as well. Afat.
Jessica, just for the sake of knowledge, this is a sort of a brand new idea and project. And I know that you were involved to write this. So what kind of thoughts triggered you to bring this to the public and to us to start a project? Something came to your mind. Always there's something comes and they said, oh, that's a great idea. Maybe we'll put it there. What was that moment? Thank you.
This is a perfect segue of that to our next section. So I think we'll answer that question as the idea really comes from IRCC, and we're following from their lead. So I'm going to move to the next slide to give context, and thank you, Varsha, for your question. Thinking about who was invited to this meeting, we really did focus on agencies that serve newcomers, so organizations that are within the settlement sector, but also beyond as well. And there's opportunity to share further with this recording and further information sessions. So just to give the context, I'm going to introduce our initial team. It's a project funded by Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. And we have Stephanie Catuli here, manager for the Settlement Network for the Peel Halton Dufferin area, to speak a little bit more about that context. Peel Newcomer Strategy Group was invited to put together this project proposal, which was accepted by IRCC, and we're working in partnership with the Center for Community-Based Research. So I'll be introducing the Executive Director, Rich Jansen, who you may know, as well as his colleague, Ruth Wilson, who's the senior researcher there. And I'm also working with Cassandra Bangay, who you know, Manager of Research Policy and Evaluation, and some further staff in research and policy there. And we're also working with some in-kind consulting students with the Public Good Initiative as well. So maybe at this time, I'll turn it to Stephanie to provide a few notes about the background on the project.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. Good morning, bonjour to everyone. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you today in this virtual space. I hope the year has started off well for everyone. First of all, I want to thank the Peel Newcomer Strategy along with the project team for organizing this information session today. And I would like to extend my thanks to everyone for participating today. During this session, PNSG will be discussing a plan and consultation process for developing models of community-based plans for settlement, service delivery, and funding in Peel. This is a very forward-thinking project, and it is funded by RCC as part of the service delivery improvement stream. So I was asked to provide more context from IRCC. We launched a request for quotation that closed last year in April 2021. This request for quotation was a targeted process. In this case, a small number of local immigration partnerships and their counterparts, Réseau d'Immigration Francophone, were invited to apply to this process. Requests for quotations were limited to the LIPS and RIFs due to their experience with environmental scanning and working with a wide range of stakeholders. The LIPS and RIFs were identified as being well positioned to play a role to support detailed local planning, as well to assist in fostering collaboration within the sector. In all, there are 12 these such projects across Canada, and they're focused on large and medium centers that would have the community capacity for this type of initiative. So in the end, we will be reviewing findings from possibly 12 different models. So what prompted this RFQ? Well, significant events over the past years have underscored the importance and the need for a coordinated community level response to service delivery. We can think of, Operation Syria as an example, or most recently, or I should say currently, COVID and the Afghan initiative. So things like this, really highlight that communities are better positioned to quickly identify and respond to ongoing and urgent needs in local areas. Flexible governance models support the understanding that newcomer settlement and integration occurs locally and may lead to improved effectiveness of service delivery, in turn leading to better outcomes for newcomers. Well, we're always looking for ways to improve the settlement program, and this project may help us with this purpose. The project really recognizes the importance of a locally driven approach to community-based planning and funding alternatives, rather than a one-size-fits-all type of policy. This type of funding, funding model is done already by other government departments such as ESDC. But as was mentioned, this would be newer to IRCC, and this is why it falls under the umbrella of service delivery improvement. This project, or these projects funded under this RFQ for community-based planning, are best described as feasibility studies. So IRCC wants to learn more about the opportunities and also challenges that will emerge if an alternative approach to settlement funding is to be considered. So first of all, we need to know if there are different models that would work in the local community. The models could be to build a governance structure for community-based planning or for community-based planning and funding model. The model would need to demonstrate how it would be structured and operationalized within the communities, but also very importantly, if stakeholders would feel comfortable operating in such a different model. So I guess the point is, IRC does not want to, if there's a different model considered, IRC doesn't want to impose a model. This is a bottom-up approach. And the goal is to empower communities to be engaged in planning and decision-making. So to manage expectations in terms of timeline, this particular project is only to consult and develop a model. So there's no expectation that there will be implementation following the conclusion of the project. And it will not inform our next CFP 2025, as unfortunately we won't have the findings in time because it is a 3-year plan. However, I really encourage stakeholders to be actively participating in these consultations and share your ideas and concerns if you have them. Really be engaged because the results from this RFQ will inform the broader settlement sector of various community-based models and their applicability to the settlement program, and may support possible testing in the future. So this is a longer term vision, but I really want us to take this opportunity to be engaged with this project, because we want to create a solution that works for the local community. So I'll hand it back to Jessica so she can go into the details in the process of the project. I hope this answered a little bit more the question about how this came to be.